everyone. Welcome to another Let's Play. My name is Anna Mardall, and this is King's Quest VI, Air Today, Gone Tomorrow. You may notice that the splash screen for this game is almost identical to the splash screen for King's Quest V. And if you didn't notice that, perhaps because you haven't seen my King's Quest V Let's Play, I very strongly recommend that you go back and watch the King's Quest V Let's Play. The reason for that is King's Quest VI is a very direct sequel to King's Quest V, with the one plot following on the heels of the other. And I feel like there's a lot in this game that will not make sense if you haven't seen King's Quest V first. At the very least, the fourth video, the last video of my King's Quest V playthrough, if you don't want to commit to, there's 4 videos, it's about 4 hours total. If you don't want to commit to 4 hours, go watch the fourth one, the last hour of the playthrough, and that should give you what you need to know. So we are going to watch the opening of this game, and hopefully, all right, I have it set on text and not speech without text. Long ago,
in the castle of a kingdom called Daventry.
Gosh dang it.
Alexander, here you are. Oh, you're still not thinking about Cosima, are you?
I suppose I am.
Son, it's been months. You've got to pull yourself together. After all, you only met her that once.
I know.
Have you discovered anything about the land of the Green Isles?
No. No one's even heard of it. It's like she's just vanished.
I wish I could help. Please try to think about something else, dear.
I'll try, Mother.
Alexander, I feel so alone. I don't know what to do. Alexander, I wish you were here. Alexander, Alexander, Alexander.
Cosima! Wait! Mother! Mother, come quick!
Alexander, what on earth? You're white as a ghost.
Mother, I saw Cosima. She was in the mirror.
In the mirror? The magic mirror?
Yes! And it showed me how to find her.
How?
The stars! I saw the stars outside her window. I can navigate by the stars.
Oh, Alexander, if you really go...
It will be all right, Mother. I promise.
Because if they start talking again, I'll have to concentrate as hard as I can to catch what they're saying. This is a boat.
Prince Alexander sailed the known seas and beyond. day turns to night and the sea turns violent.
Yeah, we're not sitting through this. I'll hit the escape key. We'll see what happens. Ah, beautiful text. Okay. So the default, okay. So I won't belabor this because I belabored it plenty already in King's Quest V, but when King's Quest V was re-released in its final, prettiest, shiniest version, Sierra decided, in all its wisdom, to make King's Quest V voice acted. And they didn't leave the text in, the subtitles at all. I'm sure that in 1990 that seemed like a good idea to somebody. Like, that's what the future of video games was going to be, is we don't have text anymore. Text is for 1990, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have voice acting. How clever is that? You know? And somebody must have pointed out, because of course King's Quest VII had the same problem. There's no subtitles at all. Somebody must have pointed out how valuable text is for people who are deaf and hard of hearing, and how stripping out accessibility in your game is not a good thing and limits your audience. Because they actually did this sensible, good thing with King's Quest VI, and they gave you choices. King's Quest VI, you can have voice without text, you can have voice with text, or you can just have plain text. Imagine that! So I will be taking us through the text without voice, because I am, I don't know, egotistical enough to prefer my voice in these Let's Plays to having someone else narrate for me. But it's nice having the option. I don't remember if the original release of King's Quest VI, which I did own, I do not remember if the original release had that opening movie, because I didn't really remember it very well when we just went through it. But at the same time, I wouldn't have gotten much use out of it, because it would have been very hard for me to hear, and especially now it was hard for me to hear. But the gist of it is that in King's Quest V, haha, I told you we'd go back there. In King's Quest V, Alexander, who is this young man here, was kidnapped by a wizard, and his dad came to rescue him, his dad being King Graham of Daventry. His dad ran into a girl at the castle where Alexander was being held hostage. And the girl turned out to be Prince Cassima of the land of the Green Isles. And although she and Alexander only shared a quick hi there, sparks had flown, and they were both very intrigued by each other. And the idea was that Cassima would go home. She was magically teleported there by a wizard. It's a long story. Cosima would go home and Alexander would, visit, or, maybe they'd write each other and become pen pals. But one way or another, they were going to resume their acquaintance. And both Alexander and Cosima seemed very keen on that. The problem was he went home to Daventry, and it turns out nobody knew where the land of the Green Isles was. I guess they forgot to write it down. It makes sense. We're in a kind of a fantasy medieval level of tech here. They don't have map makers running all over the place. So nobody knew where the land of the Green Isles was, and if Cosima knew where Daventry was, she wasn't writing or doing anything to contact him. And I guess we don't have any wizards in the Daventry Kingdom who would take a message for us. That must not have been an option. So Alexander fell into a bit of a funk, and we saw his mother, Valenice, urging him to, I know you really liked her, but you only really saw her that one time, and maybe you could try thinking about something else for a while, dearest. There is a magic mirror in the castle of Daventry, and Alexander saw Cosima longing for his company. And he saw the stars in the sky behind and around her. And I guess he is accomplished enough of a navigator that he felt like that was all he needed in order to find her. I think the skill is plausible. I'm not sure how plausible I find it that Alexander himself could do that. But, maybe they have a really good sea captain on the payroll. So Alexander took a single ship, set out for, I think the video said 3 months, finally found the land of the Green Isles, and just as they were pulling up alongside the beach, as it were, a storm whipped up and crashed the ship, and it looks like Alexander might be the only survivor because we don't see any other bodies getting up or moving around or saying, boy howdy, that wasn't fun. So, that's our backstory. Alexander awakens to find himself on an unfamiliar beach. For a moment, he is too dazed to remember how he got here. Then he does remember the shipwreck, the sea. Just as he had seen his men safely into the lifeboats, a gigantic wave picked him up and tossed him overboard into the churning sea. Oh, okay, that's a nice touch. All right, so we don't have to play the entire game assuming that all our men died. Alexander was the last one to get off the ship, which is a good and noble aspiration. Although I'm a little surprised that his men let him, but maybe it was one of those situations where it would have taken more time to argue with him. So Alexander was the last one off the ship, and he got swooshed overboard with a wave. That is the technical term. I don't know if we have any landlubbers in the audience, but I'm kind of an expert, and it is wave swooshes that is the correct term there. Don't bother to look it up, because I already know I'm right. That was the last Alexander had seen of his crew. Debris from the shipwreck is scattered along the shore, but of the lifeboats and his men, there is thankfully no trace. That's, you really don't want to see, oh, sure enough, there's a lifeboat, and oh, sure enough, there's all my men, unless they're moving along with you. Otherwise, it's just tragic and awful. So good, they got away. I don't know where they got to, but hopefully that won't be a dangling plot thread. He can only hope and pray that the lifeboat survive the currents, and that his men make their way safely back to Daventry. No, that seems unlikely, honey. No, you don't. It took 3 months to get out here. You don't go back home in a lifeboat on a 3-month trip. What you do is you find a safe place on the island to land. Those are your options. That's your only option. But okay, all right. Look, we've seen sillier in a King's Quest game, so not only is this extremely pretty, Alexander is carrying nothing. That's not what I want. Here we go. Um, but it's that's what I want. Speed. Apparently, we have. Oh, okay. So this is the GOG version of the game. Oh, it's got autosave. Excellent. So we will call this beach. Actually, well, yes, we will call it beach. Not only is this very, very pretty, we actually have wind effects, which is kind of and a tide rushing around. It's a little corny. I'll give you that, but it's kind of cool too. It's cool and corny. So what have we got? And also our usual walk, look, talk buttons are shockingly orange for some reason. I don't exactly know why, but they are. Alexander searches for a way to reach the black-haired girl whose memory will not escape him. A path leads inland to the north. The beach is covered with fine-grained white sand. The remains of Alexander's sailing ship lie dashed upon the distant shore. The ocean appears calm, but there's a dimpling pattern to the surface which indicates an undertow. There is something shiny here. Alexander's royal insignia ring lies abandoned on the sand. It must have slipped from his finger during the shipwreck. Fortunately, it was not lost in the sea. So let's go ahead and pick that up. Alexander picks up his royal insignia ring from the beach. A long plank lies on the beach. No doubt it once belonged to Alexander's ship. It seems a little big, but we've carried bigger things in our pockets. Can we take it with us? Alexander pushes the plank to one side. A box has been partially buried under the sand. I feel like the icons are out of order. Isn't it usually like look and then touch and then speak? And they've moved it so it's touch, look, speak. Not a fan. There's a copper coin in the treasure box. The coin bears the seal of Daventry and King Graham's noble face. So we're going to pick that up. Alexander takes the coin and leaves the ruined box where it is. This is our inventory. Alexander's carrying a copper crown of Daventry. King Graham faces the front of the coin. Alexander's ring is made of the purest gold and has the insignia of the royal family of Daventry on its face. Not sure if I like the speed. Maybe a little bit higher. There we go. I noticed we were walking kind of slowly. Oh, see, in here, text, speech, both, text. It's that simple. So nice. Much appreciated. What is interesting is that there's nobody on the beach. The ocean is not as calm as it appears. Underwater currents tug at Alexander's legs. And I don't know if you can hear it. Actually, this is a good test of the music. That's a little bit better, I think. The music has gone kind of urgent-y. So this is probably a bad idea, and we shouldn't do it. It is interesting that there is nobody coming to investigate. You'd think a big crash like that, you'd think people would have seen or heard something. But I guess maybe they didn't. If there was a really bad storm, I guess they were all inside. A grand old tree stretches its luxurious limbs over the crossroads. Alexander is standing at a crossroads. To the left, he can see a village. To the right, a castle. From the south come the sounds of the sea. Is there anything in that hole? Alexander examines the tree hollow, but finds nothing of interest. There's a castle over here. In the distance, a majestic castle shines in the sun. To the left, a small village seems to invite the weary traveler. I feel like we might want to try the castle first. I mean, either we've found the land of the Green Isles, and that's where Cassima lives, or we haven't, but maybe they'll know where the land of the Green Isles is. And we are back. Bet you didn't know we were gone. I feel like we might want to try the castle first. But before we do that, I feel like we should talk about some things. Actually, no, we'll go ahead and go forward, and then we'll talk about some things. So this is a pretty castle. The path from the crossroads continues north to the castle doors. A branch of the path leads off to the northwest, as though going around the castle. There's a little hut off the path. Perhaps the guard dogs have an occasional use for it, but it looks empty now. 2 guards take their stands in front of the castle doors. They look quite fierce and have the stiff, blank expression of soldiers on formal duty. The castle appears to be of Moorish architecture. Its marbled walls and delicate inlaid mosaics are unlike anything Alexander has ever experienced before. His own home, though lovely and dear to his heart, seems rough-hewn compared to this delicate beauty. So I've talked in the past a bit about Sierra using... Actually, the volume is distracting me. I've talked a bit in the past about Sierra using Orientalist tropes in its games, often for added dashes of flavor, which it's cultural appropriation to just grab cultures that aren't part of the cultures of the developers or development team. Just say, "Oh, this looks neat. This looks interesting. I'll just sprinkle it in here as though it's a teaspoon of salt, and that'll add flavor." It's also racist whenever it's done by, in this case, white people taking predominantly non-white cultures and just using them as entertainment for a white audience. And we're kind of already seeing that right here and now that, so Daventry was sort of like medieval European architecture, so let's make this, Moorish and make it, Arabic-esque, and sprinkle that in for flavor and color to make this a little bit different from the Daventry style back home, to make it clear that we're in a different land now. If you go back to the crossroads and look at the castle in the distance, it's got, very distinct spires on the castle towers that don't have that European castle look. So that's more of the same Sierra racism that I think cultural appropriation that we've all come to expect if you've been watching very many of these Let's Plays. What I didn't know, and what I found out when I tried to Let's Play this a few minutes ago, and what left me beating my head gently against my desk and swearing, until I realized that the microphone was on and I couldn't possibly use that for Let's Play footage, so I had to start over from our save point, is we're about to meet a character by the name of Vizier Alhazard. I struggled with the name, whether it was Alhazred or Alhazared or Alhazarad. And finally I thought, well, I'll just look it up, as I so often do in these Let's Plays where I pull out my phone and Google stuff. And that's when I found out that the name of the character in this game is not an actual Arabic name. Do you want to know who made up the name? It wasn't Sierra. Oh no. Abdul Alhazard, or Alhazrad, is a fictional character created by American horror writer H.P. Lovecraft. He is the so-called quote-unquote mad Arab, credited with authoring the fictional book Kitab al-Azif, the Necronomicon, and as such is an integral part of the Cthulhu mythos lore. Alhazarad's name may have been invented by Lovecraft himself or by the Phillips family lawyer Albert Baker. Abdul is a common Arabic name component, meaning servant of the, but never a name by itself. Alhazarad may allude to hazard, which is why I called him Alhazard. Or Alhazred. The spelling is very similar. A reference to the book's destructive and dangerous nature, or to Lovecraft's ancestors by that name. Another possibility raised in an essay by Swedish fantasy writer and editor Rickard Berghorn is that the name Alhazrad was influenced by references to the historical authors Alhazen ben Joseph, who translated Ptolemy into Arabic, and Abu Ali al-Hassan ibn al-Haytham, which I probably didn't say correctly, who wrote about optics, mathematics, and physics. Both authors were known in the Latin West as Alhazen, although the latter was substantially more popular than the former. Abdul Alhazrad is not a real Arabic name, and seems to contain the Arabic definite article morpheme al twice in a row, so it's not even grammatically correct. So when Sierra needed a name for an Arabic-esque Orientalist vizier for this game, instead of using an actual name that would at least be a name that exists, they went with a name made up by a white writer who was notoriously racist. H.P. Lovecraft is not even like, oh, well, he was normal for his time. No, he was deeply racist, even for quote-unquote his time. And honestly, he would be horrified if you thought he wasn't. He was a very racist man and proud of it. And the fact that people are willing to defend him and say he wasn't would just, honestly, I think it would upset him that people would do that. So, not that I wanted to turn this into a PSA about H.P. Lovecraft. I like the Cthulhu mythos. We've talked about in the past. I've talked about liking elements of it in Darkest Dungeon with that Let's Play. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he wasn't massively racist. He was, okay. Using a name that he made up for a character that I'm sure was incredibly racist. Obviously, I haven't read the relevant Cthulhu mythos writings. I haven't actually read very much of Lovecraft. I've read just enough to be like, yikes. And then I went and read stuff that was inspired by him, but not that. So I hadn't read about Alhazrad before, which is why the name took me by surprise. I was not aware that that was something that Sierra had taken that from him. So we're about to meet that character, and I wanted to get all that out in the open first before we get to him, because literally what happened was I was like, how do I pronounce this name I'm reading? Well, I'll just look it up real quickly. Oh, holy crap. So I didn't want to just not tell you where the name was from, but I also couldn't use the footage that had me swearing up a storm like, why would Sierra do this? What were they thinking? So this is the clean version. I'm truly shell-shocked. I don't know how to come back from this knowledge. I'm just like, what the... No, I can't start swearing again. So we need to turn the volume back on if we are going to play the game. And I promise you a Let's Play, so a Let's Play we shall have. We're at this castle. This unfamiliar castle on this unfamiliar island. And there are two guards who look like dogs. So apparently this is an island of dog people, which is awesome. I like dogs. Alexander politely, because he's well brought up, addresses the odd-looking guards at the castle doors, hoping to learn more about his predicament. Good day to you, guards. I was cast upon this island in a storm, and I'm a little confused about my location. Could you tell me what place this is, and who lives in this castle? Eh? What is that you say? A castaway? A likely story. We haven't had any foreigners in this part since Ahasuerus arrived. Don't be so rude, Gruff. He's not asking for any secrets. You're standing on the Isle of the Crown, lad, and this is the Castle of the Crown. The royal family resides here, or rather, what is left of the royal family. The Isle of the Crown? But tell me, am I anywhere near the land of the Green Isles? This is the land of the Green Isles. The Isle of the Crown is the main island, foolish boy. Then Princess Cassima must live in this very castle. Aye, the princess is indeed our treasured jewel to guard, and we consider it an honor. Excuse me, guardsmen, or guard dogs. I've been traveling for months to see Princess Cassima. I would like an audience, please. I'm sorry, but the princess is not receiving visitors, particularly not strangers. Well, we're not a stranger, but they don't know that. So we're going to show them our signet ring that washed up on the beach with us. Alexander decides to show his royal insignia ring to the Castle of the Crown Guards. With all of his papers lost in the shipwreck, it is the only possible calling card he can think of. Good day. I'm Prince Alexander of Daventry. I'm an acquaintance of Princess Cassima. If you could just inform her that I'm here, please. So, everyone says. Let me just look at that ring. What's it say, Gruff? Kingdom of Daventry, Prince Alexander. Wait here while I go see what Captain Saladin thinks of this. The guard returns a moment later with a majestic-looking creature. Captain Saladin speaks with a voice that is gentle, but reflects a will of iron. Prince Alexander of Daventry, I presume. I'm afraid I'm unfamiliar with your country, but I'm sure Vizier Ahasuerus will want to meet you, if indeed you are a friend of the princess. Please follow me. That's a start. It's not Cassima, but it's a vizier. Lord Ahasuerus, a visitor to see you. Prince Alexander of Daventry. This is a very pretty close-up scene in, art style that isn't the usual in-game footage. And you will notice the nice detail that Captain Saladin has his hand on his sword and his sword partially drawn. So this is not a guy who is resting on his laurels. He seems very alert and like a good captain, good at his job. Maybe not good for us, but good for Cassima, probably. What is it that you seek, Prince Alexander? Pardon the intrusion, my lord, but I came to see Princess Cassima. Some months ago, my father, King Graham, saved my family and I from imprisonment under an evil wizard named Mordak. The same wizard that kidnapped the princess? Exactly. When my father rescued us, he also liberated Cassima and sent her home. Then your father has my gratitude, and that of the entire kingdom. But I'm afraid I still fail to see the purpose of your visit. Well, I came to make sure that Cassima arrived safely and to pay my respects. Before we parted, she gave me an invitation to visit. I have no doubt she did exactly that at the time, Prince Alexander. However, things have changed greatly for Cassima since her ordeal in Mordak's castle. Cassima's parents both became ill and died while she was gone. Cassima is sequestered and mourning for them as befits a princess. She is not receiving visitors of any kind. Even if she were, I do not think your visit would be appropriate. You see, it is time for Cassima to take her responsibilities seriously. With her parents gone, she no longer has the luxury to be a carefree maiden. As was her parents' wish, Cassima and I are to be wed. We shall rule the kingdom together. I assure you, our marriage is now all that Cassima wants. As a prince and a gentleman, it would be best that you leave before there is any further embarrassment. I see. I suppose I was mistaken. I thought for certain that Cassima... Well, I apologize. A young man sees what he wishes to see. I'm sorry you've wasted your time traveling to the land of the Green Isles. May your journey home be swift. Perhaps I will take the opportunity to look around your fair land while I'm here. I would advise against that. The kingdom is rather, shall we say, inhospitable these days. But it is your neck. You may risk it if you please. Captain Saladin will escort you from the castle. Good day. You have had your hearing with Vizier Ahazarad. I trust you'll respect his wishes and not return. I have been instructed not to let you into the castle again. Good day, my lord. Captain Saladin whispers something to the guard dogs at the castle gate, and they nod with understanding. Alexander has a feeling they won't be letting him into the castle again. So, we'll just call this Isle of Crown. If the name taken out of Lovecraft didn't give the game away, and if my narration wasn't too unsubtle, the Vizier seems not totally thrilled to have us here. And anyway, even if we totally believed everything he said and thought that he was the best thing we'd ever encountered since sliced bread, it's not like we can just turn around and go home anyway. We don't have a ship. And you'll notice he didn't offer to give us a ship to leave. I guess we could ask about that. Please, if you'll only be reasonable, I really must see the princess. Be gone. You're not welcome at the castle, Prince Alexander of Daventry. We have our orders, and they are quite clear. So we're not getting in that way. Is there anything over here? Is there anything over here? There we go. Well, it doesn't look like anything. The side of the castle is one big blank wall. The bushes near the side wall of the castle have been left natural and unsculpted. Vines have begun to climb the castle's stucco walls. Your vines are too flimsy to support Alexander. Well, we tried. Not getting in that way. Maybe not getting in at all. Well, at the very least, we could go see what's going on in this town over here. I mean, it's either that or go sit on the beach and cry. And that doesn't sound fun. So let's go to town. It's a very small town. Alexander is standing on a sunny village street. There are open shops to his right, a hard-packed path beneath his feet, and palm trees waving over his head. To the north, a key-shaped arch leads to another part of the village. This is a really good example of what I was talking about earlier. Old lamps for new! About taking little bits and pieces of another culture and just sprinkling them in for flavor and color. An old beggar is peddling his wares in the village. He offers a variety of lamps, all neatly lined up on a long pole. So let's go talk to him. Good day, peddler.
Good day, sir. If you would like to get one of my fine new lamps, I'll need an old lamp in trade.
Isn't it rather bad business, taking old lamps and giving new lamps in exchange?
Well, there's always the chance that I'll find a genie. If I had a genie, I'll be richer than a king. Besides, there's a roaring business in antique illuminaries.
Okay, then. A large round pot outside is one of the pottery pieces on display outside the shops. The shop says pawn shop. A wooden door leads to the pawn shop interior. The pawn shop window has the words curios and antiques painted on it. What an interesting looking shop. The sign above the door says Ali's Books. A wooden door leads to the bookshop interior. The dusty window of the bookshop looks out over the street in a welcoming way. Oh, there's somebody up there. The villagers bustle about their chores. They seem a busy, if subdued, lot. I guess they would be, though, right? Their king and queen have died.
Good day.
I guess that would subdue anyone. Towering mightily over the other pawnshop curiosities, a stuffed bear makes an ostentatious display. The pawnshop's counter is made of sturdy teak. The wood is well worn by eager hands and well oiled by the shop's faithful keeper. The pawnshop owner is a mysterious fellow. His face is old and inscrutable, and there's a glint of sheer iron in his gaze. Still, Alexander senses this is someone he can trust. An elegant little glass dish decorates the countertop. The dish is full of green mints offered for the enjoyment of customers. Fine, we'll take a mint. Alexander takes a mint.
Good day, merchant. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles? I can tell you she is in a dark time. Without the ferry, communication between the islands has ground to a halt, and so nearly has my business. Why the long ages of peace have ended, and why the crown has not done something about it, is beyond me. But then I am a shopkeeper and not a politician, and can only hope for better days.
How bide you, good merchant?
Quite well, though a purchase would not hurt me any.
I wonder if so in King's Quest 7, we would show people our daughter's comb to ask about her. I wonder if we can show people our ring. We did with the guards.
Can you tell me, merchant, what the value of this ring might be? By the sands of the sea, what beauty! What fine gold and masterful artistry! The ring is quite valuable, sir. I would not feel right taking it in trade. None of my items on display in my humble store are even close to the value of this ring.
Truly? Well, it would be hard to part with it anyway, I suppose. So, that didn't work, actually. I guess we could ask about the items on the counter? Alexander takes a closer look at the items on the counter.
Have you an interest in tinder boxes? This one is only slightly battered. It holds a good supply of flint, a sturdy striking pad, and even a candle in case you find yourself with naught else to hold the flame.
Ah, yes, a painter's brush. It was well used by one of the island's best painters. There is a lot of creativity in that brush, and its bristles are still in good condition.
The flute is only made of plain wood, but its notes are fine and true. I see you have noticed my mechanical nightingale. She is made of plain tin, but she sings the sweetest song you can imagine, barely distinguishable from the real thing.
I guess we have a coin. A copper coin, and those things are probably worth a copper coin, but I don't know that I want any of them yet, so let's just hold off and wait. We will see you later, sir. And let's go check out the bookstore.
Hello, I will be right up. Now, what can I do for you?
Alexander is standing in a cozy little shop. Books of every size and shape line the walls. A crackling fire in the fireplace completes the tranquil scene. There's a book here entitled The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Throughout the Ages on the small table in the reading area. It appears that some regular customer likes that book. An old man occasionally steals sidelong glances at Alexander from under a concealing hood. A collection of children's books fill these shelves. These shelves hold cookbooks. Assorted travelogues and biography are arranged on these shelves. These shelves hold a collection of oddly titled guidebooks. Alexander notices such books as How to Become a King with Little or No Rupees Down, Finding the Right Girl with the Right Dowry, and Why Good Princesses Like Bad Wizards. Volumes of poetry are on display in this bookshelf. Over here, there's a small table near the door that bears a sign. The sign has undergone a number of changes. It once read 10 pence, but that was crossed out and replaced with 5 pence, then 1 pence, then free. The sign currently reads, "Take one, please." Only one book remains on the table. It looks like the bookshop owner really wants to get rid of that book. Alexander picks up the book from the small table.
Oh yes, please take that book. You have my most humble thanks for doing so, good sir.
Really? Thanks. What did we get? Alexander is carrying a book from the bargain table. Can we read it? Alexander opens the bargain book and reads a paragraph at random. 2 dulcimas, raised to the degree of 40 half dulcimas, divided into equal parts by the third of a cackle of grouse geese, put over the result of 10 fine mackles, albeit small fine mackles, stretched over the total of... Phew, what an incredibly boring book. No wonder the bookshop owner wanted to get rid of it so badly. Let's talk to this nice man. Good day, sir. The mysterious old man just ignores Alexander. Interesting. Is there anything in the children's books we want to look at? Alexander's a little old for these books. Alexander isn't interested in cookbooks on the shelf. He's had an aversion to cooking ever since he experimented with a certain cookie recipe involving cat hair and fish oil. Right now, Alexander is too involved with the journey he's on to take time to read about the journeys of others. Alexander rests his feet for a moment. He picks up and leaps idly through the book called The Changing Role of Court Entertainers Through the Ages. Well, that was refreshing. Alexander is not interested in self-help books. Thinking of Cassima, Alexander decides to leaf through one of the volumes of love poetry. He reads, "Thy hair, thy lips, thy beauteous face, and all thy studied female grace have won for thee anon a place within this broken breast." Not bad. And another. "Upon the shore the lilies bend, untouched by worldly care. Were shadow they her earthly bed, oh that she were not there." Yikes. And another. "What was it when I looked at you? What power has changed me through and through? And binds my heart with links so tight, I cannot live without the sight of you. What nameless thing has captured me and made me powerless to flee? What thing is it without a name that brings my mind e'er back the same to thee? The name of love cannot apply, its commonness does not descry the haunted, hunted, painful cry that my heart makes for you."
that ere my soul eternal makes for you. A little close to home, that one. Alexander returns the love poem book to the shelf. Uh-oh. Alexander picks up the fallen page. It's the love poem he liked. It must have fallen out of the poetry book. I see that old volume has lost another page. You may keep it if you like, sir. I have glued the stubborn thing back in place 2 times already. I do rather like it. Thank you, merchant. Well, let's go talk to him. Good day, sir. I'm a stranger in this land. What can you tell me about the land of the Green Isles? That is quite a question, young man. Who are you, and what would you have me tell you? My name is Alexander. I know I'm on the Isle of the Crown, but I'd like to know whatever you can tell me about this island, and if there are other islands nearby. You are indeed a stranger. Anxious is the man who knows not the customs of the land beneath his feet. This island is called the Isle of the Crown because the royal family's castle is here. Beside the castle, we also have this village and the docks over to the west. There are at least 3 other islands, the Isle of the Sacred Mountain, the Isle of the Beast, and the Isle of Wonder. At least 3? Does no one know for certain? This is no ordinary land, Alexander. The land of the Green Isles has always been a place of vague boundaries, as if islands come and go. Legend speaks of a 4th island, an isle shrouded in mists. I myself have never seen it. Then, too, the land of the Green Isles is said to exist on the boundaries of this world and the next. Even darker places are reputed to be closer here than anywhere else in the world. That's quite a claim. Claim, yes, but probably just local superstition. We who live here on the Isle of the Crown, at least, sleep well enough at night. Those first 3 islands you mentioned, how might I learn more about them? I really appreciate, by the way, that the text in this game is not timed. I can take my time. I don't have to rush. Another accessibility feature. Ideally, a young man seeking such knowledge would travel to their shores and learn about them firsthand. Meeting the leaders of each place would be helpful, naturally. Unfortunately, the ferry no longer runs between the islands. There has been much political unrest, and it has been too dangerous to travel for years. Perhaps the ferryman can tell you more. He has little enough to do these days. And if you haven't been there already, you might seek an audience at the castle. Thank you kindly, merchant, for all your good advice. Ah, but advice is free, Alexander. Making use of it costs much more. I wonder if he might like our ring. There's no reason to use that on the books. Here we go. Would you be interested in this ring? It is a stunning ring, but I do not deal with jewelry and personal effects. Books and hard gold are all I can handle. You might check with my neighbor next door, though. He deals in such things. What about this guy? Is he interested in it? The old man would not be interested in anything Alexander might show him. Really? Are you so sure? That's probably true. Probably true. I guess we could, for no reason at all. He probably doesn't want the books. He probably doesn't want the coin. We have a mint, though. We could offer him that, just to be neighborly. Would you care for a mint, stranger? Give it to me! Yum! He's wobbly. Odd. The man sways momentarily, but seems to quickly recover. That must be some strong mint. Well, we used our mint, so I'm going to go back and get another one. Much like Jason in The Good Place, I am flagrantly violating the 1 candy per customer rule. He said there was some docks to the west. This doesn't look like docks. Red roses beautifully cover the top of the house's fence and gate arbor. There's a young girl in the yard. The girl is dressed in a long, plain orange robe with a thick headdress. From the appearance of her clothes,
and from a skittish, fearful look about her, Alexander gets the strong impression that she is a servant, or even worse, a slave. The servant girl appears to be stealing a quiet moment tending the rose bushes. The house is made of stucco in an architectural style native to the island. It is apparently quite old, since climbing vines embrace its exterior. The entrance to the house is a time-worn wooden door. Looking at the serving girl reminds Alexander of the years he spent as a slave under the evil wizard Manon. He wishes there was some way he could help her. She looks very shy and nervous as she tends her roses. You lazy thing! Get back to work and stay away from those roses! I've told you a million times, those flowers are too sweet for the likes of you. You've still got to do the breakfast dishes, make lunch, and clean the stables yet this morning. And get your veil back on. No one wants to look at your face. Yes, stepmother. There's no reply. Alexander doesn't want to intrude on private property unless he's been invited. And he has not been invited to pick the family's roses. So while we feel sympathy for that girl, there is nothing we can do for her, it seems. But I do like that Alexander, though he is a prince, has some experience with and sympathy with. Hey, stranger! Come join me! The water is wonderful and I can show you the way to the next island! A young boy is happily swimming in the sea off the docks.
Good day, I'm Alexander. What are you doing in the sea?
What does it look like I'm doing? I'm swimming! I mean, come join me. The water's wonderful. I can show you the way to the next island. Come on, jump in. A little water won't hurt you. The waters in this cove are pure calm, but there's a dimpling pattern to the surface which indicates an undertow. Come join me if you're brave enough. What are you waiting for? I said I'd show you how to get to the next island, didn't I? All right, be that way. Don't come in the water. You'll be sorry. That's strange. The young boy in the water just disappeared. Oh well, perhaps he just dove under the water. A decrepit pier juts out into the sea. A worn wooden vessel has been dry docked on a jetty. The boat is in sad shape. A hole in the hull and the condition of its boards make it obvious that the vessel is no longer seaworthy. So this is where, if your graphics are too good, you can hurt your game. I remember distinctly as as a child, being stuck in this area and unable to proceed because I could not tell that there was a door here. It blends in very well, I think. A wooden door leads to the interior of the boat's cabin. I mean, I see it now because I know it's there, but I didn't see it back in the day, and I could not for the life of me figure out what you were supposed to do at this boat. But we will need to save that for another video because we are at the hour mark. So this has been King's Quest V. My name is Anna Mardall, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.